My name is Nina Ekiomadu Irabo. Born in Wari, grew up a little bit in Delta, and I'm finding my way back home, currently in Lagos. I'm currently based in Toronto, Canada, but I'm here in Lagos to enjoy my home. I'm the middle child, so middle child syndrome, yes. I went to school for nursing. I did 4 years, got my registered nursing degree. I worked for a nurse for 5 years. My age, forever 21. And yes, and of course, go to school, get your degree, do what you gotta do. And then now I'm exploring more of my artistic passions and dabbling in a little bit of everything, and so far, so good. What do I do? Yeah. Woo! I do some writing. I write music. Afro soul is what I call it. I love R&B music. I love soulful music. I love hip hop too. I love pop. I love Afrobeat, of course. Oh my God, don't even get me started about Afrobeat. But I do writing. I sing. I've been playing piano for 15 years, different churches, different things. Played piano for a long time, and then my friends said, you know, you should really start singing. They just kind of heard me. I didn't take it seriously, but now, you know, I'm loving it. It's just, anybody who does music, you know, it's a drug. It's an addiction. You just love it. So I make music, I write, and I dance as well. I teach dance for different, from beginner to intermediate to expert. I coordinate for music videos, I coordinate for concerts, I coordinate for shows, I book dancers, you name it, I do it. Dance is just, I don't even remember the first time, it's just part of our culture. Anywhere you go, any party, anything you do, we're dancing. Dance is at home, dance is everywhere. I'm very, very blessed to have parents that love music. So I grew up in a house that always had loud music. Loud music is our thing. You wake up, you see my mom and my dad dancing in the living room, spraying themselves money, like just why. So dance started from way back, church, way back in the day. And then during school, I've kept up with the dance teams. After school, I've done a lot of drop-in classes, trained with international dancers, local dancers. I just love dancing. So started, I don't even remember my earliest memory, probably when I was 3 years old. Personally, building my own company for dance, it's called Fire Up Dance. I've been teaching dance for a while now, and this is me actually making it an actual viable, you know, company. So I would say this is my greatest achievement, because as I said, I went to school for nursing. I didn't go to school for business per se, but I took my time, I learned, I observed, I listened to mentors. So I would say my biggest accomplishment right now is creating my own company where I can support the next generation. I can put myself in the background and give to the next generation and teach to the next generation, leave that legacy, let them carry it on. That would be my greatest accomplishment, I would say, so far. Woo, social media is everything. Social media is everything. God bless you, Instagram. To be honest, as I mentioned, dance, from my perspective, from my own journey, it was about the skill. So for example, anytime, like, I could be amazing, but if I don't have Instagram, who's gonna know what I'm doing? Who's gonna know where I'm doing it? Whereas all I need to do is put out videos and it's saying, hey, this is me showing you my skill. And then people now come and say, okay, where do you teach? Where do you teach? What do you do? I run everything from social media, honestly. Mostly Instagram based, my website, but mostly Instagram based. It makes everything you know, easier to promote, because you take a video with just your cell phone. You know, sometimes you may think you need this. You don't need much. You need your cell phone. Most people have cameras on their cell phone. If your phone doesn't have a camera, I don't know why you have that phone. Every phone has a camera now. You just take a video of your class, and that's your resume to show the next set of students that may be interested that, hey, this is what we do. It's not for everybody. My style's not for everybody, but I know the people that come to me come because they see the videos on social media. So social media is a big part of what I do. So personally, I can't speak on specific numbers, but I make more than I was making from nursing through dancing. But that's because I've come to a point where I'm at, and it depends on what you're doing for dance. So there's different levels of dance. So some people are, Instagram dancers per se. So they don't teach classes, but they put a lot of videos on Instagram and they're really viral, they're popular. They might get sponsored here, they might get, different paychecks from different companies. So that's their route of monetizing the dance. Other people don't even have Instagram, but they're so respected in the community that their classes are always full. So that's that aspect. Some people just teach weekly. Some people, sign up to a studio. They are contracted to the studio and they're making a living teaching dance, maybe $150 per class, every 4 times a week, whatever it is. Like some people, everybody has their avenue. So I would say for me, it's what's working for me. I do dance programs. So, I teach intensive programs, 3 2-hour classes where I really break down the foundations, and then we do choreography for the class. We talk about the culture. We talk about everything to do with it. So that's my route. And then I also teach for the government. I teach for children who just come from different countries in the shelters. I teach for, youth in the community. So it just depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's really where it depends. There's no set number, I would say, because it just depends on what contracts come in. And then there's a lot of extra stuff happening. I personally don't do a lot of music videos anymore. I did that when I was younger. But, there's a lot of girls who all they do is book videos. They book live performances and they make their money that way. So it just depends on what route. I wouldn't say my example is like the only way to define numbers, for dancing. So personally, I can't speak on specific numbers, but I make more than I was making from nursing through dancing. But that's because I've come to a point where I'm at, and it depends on what you're doing for dance. So there's different levels of dance. So some people are, Instagram dancers per se. So they don't teach classes, but they put a lot of videos on Instagram and they're really viral, they're popular. They might get sponsored here, they might get, different paychecks from different companies. So that's their route of monetizing the dance. Other people don't even have Instagram, but they're so respected in the community that their classes are always full. So that's that aspect. Some people just teach weekly. Some people, sign up to a studio. They are contracted to the studio and they're making a living teaching dance, maybe $150 per class, every 4 times a week, whatever it is. Like some people, everybody has their avenue. So I would say for me, it's what's working for me. I do dance programs. So, I teach intensive programs, 3 2-hour classes where I really break down the foundations, and then we do choreography for the class. We talk about the culture. We talk about everything to do with it. So that's my route. And then I also teach for the government. I teach for children who just come from different countries in the shelters. I teach for, youth in the community. So it just depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's really where it depends. There's no set number, I would say, because it just depends on what contracts come in. And then there's a lot of extra stuff happening. I personally don't do a lot of music videos anymore. I did that when I was younger. But, there's a lot of girls who all they do is book videos. They book live performances and they make their money that way. So it just depends on what route. I wouldn't say my example is like the only way to define numbers, for dancing. I love music. Similar thing, you can be going through the worst day ever, but you just hear the right song and you just forget. You just forget all the thing your boss was yelling in the ear, you just forget. All the stress from this person, that person. When you hear your favorite song, come on, you know how it is. You just start singing it. Music, I love music. And I love creating music because there's a spiritual magic or something that happens when you start from nothing and you create something, especially when it's a personal thing to you. It's very therapeutic. So you can be upset about this boy or that boy, but when you write about it, there's like a healing that happens when you write and you make a song out of it. It's just a different, it's like a transcendence. They call it like transcending. It's beyond physical. Your body almost out of body experience. Like it's an experience that, people try to emulate from drugs and from alcohol, from different things, but it's a natural high. That's what I love about making music. Here's the thing, the older I get, the more I try to be understanding of people. When I was young, I was just like, you guys don't understand. You're just controlling me, you don't get it, you didn't grow up, you didn't. But the older I get, the more I try and take less of an, I'm angry at them stance. And you did this, you killed this dream. I more think of it as they're doing the best they can for what they know. Our parents didn't have cell phones where you can run a whole business from your cell phone. My email, everything I can do on my cell phone. They didn't have the leisure of follow your dreams. Hey, you have YouTube. They didn't have all those things. They were raised in terms of if you want a secure amount of income, which means you want to make sure you eat and your family eats, you have to do it A plus B equals C. With our generation, we have that freedom, we have access, we have technology, we have information. There's nothing, what can you find on Google? How to do anything, how to sew, anything you can find online. So with our parents, of course they've killed dreams, but I don't think they're necessarily trying to kill our dreams. I think they just don't know better. I think a lot of parents don't know better, and I think, what is every parent's goal? Every parent wants their children to be able to self-sustain when they're not around. So at the end of the day, I know I'm speaking about my own parents. I can say, oh, why didn't you send me to school for this? Why didn't you encourage me to do this? They just wanted to make sure I can feed myself if they're no longer on this earth. So how can I be mad at somebody who just wants to make sure that I'm okay? That's the perspective that I take now on, because they're not out here trying to kill my dreams. They're just out here trying to make sure that whatever I'm doing is sustainable. And if wherever they grew up, it wasn't sustainable, why would they advise me to do it? Why would they want me to take the risk? Especially when they're working hard to make sure I have opportunities. Why would they just want, be a doctor, get your paycheck, get your house. Those are the things that, made life good at then. Now in our generation, we're looking for more of health and wellness and mental health and feeling good about our lives beyond just work. So that makes more, it's easy to say parents are killing dreams, but I would say if you do that, you'll get too caught up on the negative. Try more to sit back and understand where they're coming from. I think it helps in a lot of ways. That's where I've learned my lessons. That's tricky. It's hard to speak on it because I wasn't here to judge that. I think so. I think the beautiful thing about Nigeria is that it has its own industry, it has its own supports. So as I mentioned, I met a lot of Nollywood actresses that I personally didn't know from living abroad, but they're very, very well supported here. They're very well known here. So I really think that Nigeria has its own culture, Nigeria has its own market, Nigeria has its own industry. So maybe I would have been twice as big if I was here compared to out there. Because out there, the major styles that are for dance that are respected, you have ballet, you have jazz. So when you have a studio, you're teaching the children from when they're very young age that ballet, jazz, tap, hip hop, modern, Afro, these are the styles that get booked in the industry. These are the styles that are professional styles. They're not really, it's now that Afro dance is even being, Western Afro dance, it has a lot of, jazz and ballet and contemporary in it. So that's usually respected. But the new school urban street style dances, they're not really, it's now that it's just catching on. It's now that people are thinking, okay, maybe I will invest in that. But for a long time, it wasn't. So maybe I would have been bigger if I stayed here, because a lot of the artists are here. A lot of the artists are making the music here. They're making their videos here. So maybe I would have been twice as big because I would have been here with them, being part of that industry. Whereas in Canada, where, I've been, it's been, mostly, the other styles are regarded as the professional styles. And it's now that we're becoming more mainstream. Even our music was never this huge everywhere. So it's now that the music is even catching on, and the music goes hand in hand with the dance. So maybe I would have been way bigger if I was in Nigeria. Maybe I wouldn't have been known internationally, but within Nigeria, maybe I would have been way more known, way more respected, because we understand our dance styles and we think our dance styles are, the legitimate styles. So maybe I would have been, it's hard to tell. It's hard to speak on something that I haven't experienced. So I think that youth should be careful, because when you're a youth, you have so much room for creativity in your brain. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I wasn't worried about bills, rent. Certain things weren't taking up space in my brain. So I had a little bit more space to really be creative and enjoy that artistic creation. I think youth shouldn't depend on drugs to be creative. I don't think youth should do drugs to make themselves feel like they can keep up or keep in. if that's what you use to cope, your life is hard, I can't judge anybody. But I genuinely think that youth, especially as youth, that we really should focus on the natural highs. We really should be able to have a good time without doing drugs, because we're youth. We have energy. We have love. We should focus on your passions. There's a high that comes out of making music. There's a high that comes out of dancing. Those things for me satisfy me. So I don't believe that drugs. The way I've been taught about drugs is, you get drunk maybe to downplay your problems. Your problems are not going anywhere. You get drunk today because you feel like you have problems. Your problems are still going to be there when you're sober, and you're probably going to be feeling even worse after that because you've lost a lot of money on these drugs, and it's just usually not a good feeling afterwards. So I would say youth should really, really focus on just putting down the drugs and just focus on your creativity. You have so much creative energy you don't even realize. You just need to tap into it. You really do. If someone's gonna pay me $5 million, not Naira, 5 million Canadian dollars, and this is like full out affair. Yeah. 5 million is a lot of money. Let me say, women are beautiful. We are beautiful. Women, I love women. Women are beautiful. So $5 million to be with a woman, oh man, I don't know. That's weird. Can we skip this one too? Well, if I'm in a relationship and it's gonna hurt somebody, no. But if I'm single, maybe 5 million and it stays quiet, maybe. I don't judge. I'm not saying I don't want to do it because I'm judging lesbians. I don't judge lesbians. It's just not my path in life. But for $5 million, a lot of people would do a lot of worse, questionable things. So I'll go with it. Hello, it's Nina. And I'm reporting live from Broadway TV. Make sure you stay tuned and keep watching. You can find me online on Instagram at It's Nina, 5_. And my dance page is Fire Up Dance, also on Instagram. And it's been a pleasure.